This is SoulCharge, the podcast for women leaders to take the highest level of ownership of their power to create results now. I'm your host, Stacy B. Let's dive in. This conversation is not about mindset. This is about the masks that you put on every day to perform in your lives. This is about the pressure to hold it all together and really what that is costing us. As women, we start each day with masks. We start each day with the pressure to perform, and we have been conditioned for so long that this is normal. All the while, behind the scenes, day after day, we go home exhausted, burnt out, and more disconnected from ourselves than ever. This has to stop, and may it stop by you listening to this episode. This episode today is all about the override that is sneaking around in the darkness, the override that to us as women is normal. It's normal to feel tired and reach for that coffee. It is normal to feel disconnected and reach for that next win. And this is costing us not just our happiness, not just our fulfillment, but it's actually impacting our bottom line. It's actually the thing that is bottlenecking the business. It's actually the thing that is impacting the sales. And it's actually the thing that is what is driving us crazy when we deal with our teams. And it is truly the thing that if you are willing to look at and you are willing to shine a light on, and that is my intention with this episode today, if you're willing to look at the masks that you are truly upholding in your life, you can take them down. And this episode is the catalyst for that experience of freedom. I want to share a personal story with you of my own journey with overriding, my own journey with what it feels like to experience life in a constant override. But I want to clarify something with you first before I dive into today's episode. It is very easy, especially as a woman and with the label that we are in touch with our feelings and we are feelers, especially for those of you that are into the Myers-Briggs world, right? You have your feelers and you have your thinkers. They categorize us that way. If you are a fellow feeler like I am, I want to clarify something for you because it's a very fine line that truly is going to tee you up for this episode. Our feelings are not what I am talking about overriding in this episode. In other words, when I'm talking about overriding, I'm not talking about letting your feelings run the business. It is so easy to take what I'm going to share with you today and apply it to things that aren't appropriate, or in other words, don't equal what driving the business as a CEO and founder requires from you. And it's easy to say, oh, well, Stacy is saying stop overriding your feelings. It's time to not use your feelings as truth. And I'm not talking about those feelings today. The way that you feel over time being suppressed by the masks I'm going to talk about today is actually what causes the feelings to start to drive in the business, which can drive the business into the ground if you're just listening to your feelings alone and letting those drive. And so I want to clarify, when I'm talking about overriding, it's less about the feelings and more about what's causing the feelings to blow up. What is causing the feelings to take that front seat in your decision-making process? And it's because you've been overriding yourself for so long. They've been suppressed for so long that they come out and start driving. And so I just want to preface the episode with a very clear statement around your emotions are not meant to build and drive the business. Your emotions, when suppressed over so much time, can get confusing and start to have more of a driver's seat in the business, which is not always appropriate. So let's dive in. So I want to share the override that I have experienced in my life so that you can apply this into yours and have clarity of where I'm going. And the override really starts with hormones. And I think that this is a conversation that I want to bring more light to because it has impacted myself and my business in such a way that I am like, if I'm going through this, other women my age in business, running big businesses, are also experiencing this. And my journey actually started well before you're supposed to start having hormonal issues or challenges with hormones. And it was misdiagnosed as depression and ADD. And it started in my mid to late 20s. Looking back, I have this clarity now, but as I was going through it, I was diagnosed, right, with ADD, with depression, and took medication for a long time because that's what I was diagnosed with. And as I reflect back, looking at what was going on for me hormonally could have very well been the root cause. And so that's the first, personal share that I want to share with you is that at an age that wasn't necessarily to society standards, right? Mid to late 20s, there's something that started to happen for me. And instead of looking at, the body and admiring my body and what it's meant to do on its own without medication and really understanding how the hormones play, I do believe that I was diagnosed with something that just covered up an issue for years and years. And so that was my journey in the first override, right? And I'm going to tell you, there was definitely overrides before that, but that override started, let's say, 10 to 14 years ago, where there was something that was imbalance, something that was out of balance internally, and I was diagnosed with something that I believe was a misdiagnosis now looking back. And so that's how easy it is to experience an override. Something is not necessarily feeling right. You're feeling off. In my case, I felt like brain fog, really low energy, like high-end emotions, and then like low lows. And looking at hormones is such a huge thing. And so if you have not looked into hormones, whether you feel like you've been overriding them or not, look into them now. This is your sign to do something about it, because I'm telling you now, looking back, wow, it's such a huge difference. And it's not necessarily relying on something that wasn't true for me. Now, listen, like medicine, Western medicine has its place. I think that everything has its place. It's just being informed and being holistic, in my opinion, of what really is going to serve you. And so that was really the first experience of overriding. And over time, what I would do is if I was tired, I would go and grab, that caffeine. I would go and grab, the tea, the coffee, the Zip Fizz, whatever it was. And that's obviously impacting my adrenals. That's, impacting more than just the adrenals, just, me personally, it's impacting the business. And so the overrides over time, in overriding my body, in overriding that, what happens, and I want you to think of it this way. I want you to think of your spirit is in your body, right? And if we look at the holistic approach of mind, body, and spirit, your mind is logically making the plans and outcomes and goals, right? Your heart, we want that aligned so that there is coherence between the mind and the body and the spirit. But if we're constantly overriding the body, the spirit is also impacted, because the vessel in which has been chosen for your spirit to express itself in this world is essentially under an override that's not natural. And it's not necessarily able to express itself fully, because at some level there's a layer of rejection that's happening constantly to the body, because it's like this: body, you're not responding, you're not performing. And this is so us as women leaders. We are all about the performance, about getting it done, about that next achievement, that next accolade. And if I am constantly informing and directing the body that it's not enough and it's not performing to standard, and so I'm going to go reach for that override, whether it is, in my case, like the medication or the Band-Aid. I'm still informing a level of programming into my body, into my spirit, that is, you are not enough, you are not performing, and I'm going to reject you. And that is the root of many of our conditions, and we don't realize it. The override that happened for me could be showing up differently for you. I do really want you to just double check your hormones. And by the way, Dutch test is the way to go. That is the way to really get down to it. And also like blood work. And of course, I'm not a doctor, so whatever your NP or MD suggests, but do your due diligence. I cannot say this enough. That's for me how the override happened. It happened in, I'm going to override the body. I'm going to override whatever's going on. And what that did was put me into a cycle and a loop that was nothing's ever enough. And if I'm not constantly performing, there isn't a place for me. And I'm sure on some level you can relate to that, right? It's like you're either performing or you're performing. Like those are the options. And what I am so passionate about, why I created SoulCharge, is to end the illusion that that's necessary for you to have what you want. Because the truth of the matter is that it is an illusion. And the more that we infer and instruct our bodies with a program of rejection, of not enough, of whatever the sentence is, every time we do that, we are affirming separation from ourselves. That is why we are not getting what we want. You are able to create at will. You cannot create at will when these things are running in the background. The way in which we override is so unconscious, it's so subconscious that it is hard to catch. And that's why I wanted to bring this real raw conversation to you today, because if you are going through a chapter in your life and you feel like your mojo is gone, or you are going through a chapter of your life where you feel like what used to work is no longer working, or maybe you're going through a chapter where you are doing the things, but you feel numb inside, look at your body first. Look at your key hormones, your key, I'll call them deliverables within, because your body is meant to work in a certain way. And we have been conditioned to override for so long that we're missing the root. And then when we miss the root, that impacts our ability to maintain an intentional vibration and creation state, to call in opportunities, but also to take massive action alongside our magnetism, right? And it's all at the base of this override. And so what is the override for you? Are you someone that is tired at 2 and so you reach for that coffee? Are you someone that has had brain fog or just have been feeling off and you need to look into your hormones, but there's like an endless pit of resources and it just doesn't feel like anyone gets it right? And so you almost like lose interest in trying to figure it out. Like whatever it is for you, if you can see that you are, in fact, in an override, that you are, in fact, not meeting a need that is true to you, that is on some level the first and the last step. Because the day that we stop overriding, the day all of the actual mindset work, the strategies, the things that you're deploying in the business have an ease and a flow that right now may seem like a struggle. The struggle that, if you are experiencing struggle, the struggle that's going on, I can guarantee you can be linked to somewhere that you are overriding your system. Let's talk about the system a little bit more, because I've shared with you like my hormone journey, right? I've shared with you like what was showing up for me in overriding my system. And by the way, it's not something that just goes away overnight, right? The past conditioning says, if I'm not perfect, If I am not performing, and if I am not upholding an image, whatever that image of success is, then I'm going to override. Let's talk about, though, how this shows up in the business, because the thing is that I know you women leaders out there that are listening to this. We are working towards that achievement, and our personal health doesn't always get our attention until something is extreme. And that's just the truth. And so let's bring this to the business. The way in which the override can show up in the business is having team members that aren't necessarily performing to your standard. And instead of addressing that with a hard conversation, you override that and overcompensate with trying to convince or inspire them to perform. Another way that this shows up in the business, and by the way, anywhere where there is a word that precedes the word with over is a good clue for you to dig deeper into that area. So like if you're overcompensating in the business, or you hire the help, but find that on some level you're still doing the job of the help that you've hired, it's over functioning. And that's the whole thing that we've been doing, which is why our systems are so out of whack, and why I wanted to bring this conversation actually back to a personal story of my journey with my body and the struggle that I've gone through, all to realize how it's so interconnected. Another way that this is showing up in the business is having your vision clear, moving towards that vision, and then something external happens, like a client change, a team change. Maybe the team doesn't agree with the direction because, you've given that dynamic kind of like your blessing. Is anywhere that you are driving the business forward and cast the vision with the team, they disagree, or you're trying to get buy-in and then you change. That's another way that you're overcompensating. You're getting feedback that doesn't necessarily feel right or in your system because you've learned to override it for so long. That actually is impacting the system much greater than just giving feedback. And so part of what I've noticed with both myself and clients is that when your body is off and you don't necessarily know what's going on, that's impacting your spirit and your conviction. We have to take ownership of that, because if we are going out into the world and casting these massive visions and calling up the people that are going to carry out the vision to the finish line, we have to be able to be rooted in our convictions, and we cannot be there if we're not in our body. And that's the whole thing. I don't know about you, but I have lived my entire life. I'm 38. I have lived my entire life mostly out of my body, mostly disassociated with my body. There's been blips. There's been different moments where I felt really connected, and I had no idea that it was a chemical conversation as to why I kept overriding, and why and how that was actually the source of the bottleneck for the business, for moving things forward. And it shows up like this for you too, right? It shows up for you in the way where you are clear on where you're going and then you change it, or you launch an offer or pricing and it doesn't do well and you change it. And all of that is not about the pricing or the product. It's about avoiding self-rejection. It's about truly, I believe, a deep imbalance that's happening, that if we can wrap our arms around this and feel good, and I want to be clear, and this is why I started this episode with this, it's not about this perfect state of feeling good and feeling perfect and feeling happy all the time. That is not what I'm saying. Feeling good means, to me, for the purpose of this episode, like feeling good is, are you in your body? Are you associating from your truth and leading from that? Because if we're leading from external, if we are leading from all of these different things, we are not leading from our footing, from our truth, from what is real for us. And that is actually the override that has to stop. We have to flip the narrative, go inside. Do you feel balanced? Do you feel completely associated and connected with your body? And for many of you, you may say yes, and it's only because you don't know what you don't know. Are you experiencing any hesitation, confusion? Is this more of a chemical thing that's going on for us as women leaders than it is about this playing small conversation, this are we hiding conversation, this conversation around what the world has wanted us to believe. And if we can harness the truth about our energy and come from that powerful interstate, that's when the game changes. And no more do you change the vision because someone gives you the side eye. No more do you soften your voice and your vision because it's so large, because of what they say. No more do you sacrifice achieving for imbalance. No more do you reach for that override. It is when we can see the truth of the override. It's when we can see the truth of how that has served us and the part that it's played, that we can truly take our power back, because our power and our identity and calling and being our future self can be blocked and not embodied by a simple chemical imbalance. And so much conversation is around, connecting with that future you. And I am saying, if you cannot be in your body today, that is actually what we need to talk about, so that the vision and what you know is true, you can become one with it. The journey of separation for us as women leaders is cultivated when there is an imbalance. When I talk about separation, what I'm talking about is the deep connection to you and yourself. That separation can be maintained as an illusion that blocks your manifestation, that blocks your results, that blocks everything that you want in life, and you don't even know it. So may this episode shine a light on something you hadn't considered, and may you look into how you're overriding your truth for external validation. May you look at how you're overriding your knowing for that next hit of success, and may you look at your body as a temple that your spirit gets to fill up and express itself in this world with. And if you don't care for it, and if you don't take a hard look at it, it cannot be the hands and feet it is meant to in this world. Are you loving SoulCharge? If so, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share an episode. We want to bring powerful content to women leaders each week so that women can be unleashed to create the results that they want now. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.